The last day of the year. What a year it was, too, huh? My. And here we are at the beginning of a whole new vibration, a time where figuring out the how can be retired because it will slow you down from thriving in the now. I always say, life happens while we're figuring out what we're supposed to be doing, you know, and the more you stop figuring and the more you have your hands outreached, both for the divine guidance, all our angels, all our guides, all the wonderment that we have, but also all the wonderful beings who have chosen to be present on this planet at this time. This is an important time to be here with each other. It's really the time where we are going to practice one heart, one mind. That is where the solutions come from, not from focusing on our differences, but focusing on our beings. And what supports one being supports all beings. And so all these differences that we've noticed and spent time and tried to eliminate in ourselves, oh my God, I'm one of those. Oh, how could I be one of those? Whatever that was for you. I know for me, I spent my younger years trying to fit in, which isn't really a joke, because we don't fit in, we fit with. We're not supposed to match. We're supposed to have essence that matches, and those little differences is how we're going to find those solutions, how we're going to make the world, our world, to thrive in, because that's what it's meant to be. We aren't meant to be struggling the way we do. Struggle, it was a wonderful experience when you're a young soul. It reminds you that yes, you do have a part to play. It reminds you, oh yes, there are things you aren't going to feel good about. I'm always amazed when someone takes something personally and they're so mad about it because, can you believe it happened to me? And then this happened to me, and then this happened to me. And I'm thinking, yeah. And did you bless it? Did you bless it? Did you thank it for the experience so you could move past it? Or are you staying in it? And if you're staying in it, will you bless yourself for staying in it? Because for some reason, it's important to hold on to at that moment until it's not anymore. Stop thinking you can let go of things until you can let go of things. Stop thinking that you're doing this by yourself. I just read a book, it's called Never Alone, and it's about this woman who went up to the Arctic and lived for 72 days in this Arctic experience, one of these reality shows. And I thought, God, that is something I would never have wanted to do. My goodness. But it was her way of figuring out her connections with life. And so for her, it was perfect. Not a solution I would have chosen to figure out life. But then when you look at your own life, look at all those experiences of being in the Arctic by yourself, thinking you were alone. It probably was in your bedroom while your friends were saying, gee, I so miss her. I wonder what's going on with her. So we're at a place now where the door is opening for something new and different. We've had the last 20 years of looking at systems that don't work anymore and looking at things and ways of doing things that don't support our being. And so we're in quite a bit of chaos. Because when the being isn't included in the formula, guess what? It can't be powerful and it can't be you see. It's just the shell being expressed rather than the heart. And I seldom read this poem that I wrote, but I think it's kind of fun. I called it a portrait. And I see this as what happens. Here it goes. I want to be seen for all my charm. I don't want to be that cute thing on someone's arm. I want to be the goddess in someone's heart. I want to be noticed right from the start. I want joy, I want laughter and comfort and support. I want 100% partnership and nothing short. With myself, my friends, and with my mate, nothing less than this will be my fate. For I have made my commitment to be flexible, open, and curious. That's me. And flexible, open, and curious are three of the powerful qualities of thriving. Sometimes it feels like we're so far away from the solution, like it couldn't possibly happen tomorrow. And whether or not it will, we don't know, because we know the divine timing is important and that it's going to come when it comes. What do we do in the meantime? Well, we've been taught to move into the how, right? How are we going to do this? How are we going to do tomorrow? How? Do you like an Indian? How? Okay. No. That's what slows us down, you see. Moves us out of our spirit, moves us out of who we are, our being, moves us into this whole wonderful, magnificent mental body that we've developed. But that is just to handle the little day-to-day things. That is not where we need to be focused. What if this was the year that you could decide and make a commitment to be experiencing as much of this year as you can possibly manage? I looked at last year and I thought, oh my God, about half of it is missing. I thought, where did that part go? It can't have happened this fast. It had to, something went off and didn't happen here. What? And I realized how the experience of last winter, which was overwhelming for most of us, and all the things that have gone on have distracted us from who we are and what is it I want to collaborate with today. And that begins with your first breath of the morning, to collaborate with your world. Take that breath in. Take one in right now and feel the presence of all the folks that are here. A much bigger world, isn't it? Than when you just take your own little breath here. Yes, we need to include our own little breath here so we can be part of the solution, part of all the solutions that can come in the next 15, 20 years. This is going to be a big problem-solving time. But there's so much of a higher vibration coming in right now to help us. Please remember to receive that before you make any decision about your life at any point this year. Take the time to be rather than make it from your doing part. Take the time. Someone comes through your mind. It's likelier to collaborate with them somehow or another. Make sure you make that connection. Don't let it float away. Let yourself have all the wonderment that you could have. Most of the hiking I do now is in my mind, which is by far easier. And but think about those places where you've stepped on our planet that maybe no one else has been, or maybe just a few. Think of all the experiences you've had in connection with our world up here. Is amazing. It's amazing. And how it connects with all of time, because it does. So from this magical place, we can send that love to all those kids who need that love, and to know that they are as important as anyone else, even though they probably have no sense of that except fear. And maybe that's what we have to see in order to stop scaring everybody. Do we really want to be scaring everybody? What is that about? My goodness. Choice. It's just choice. It's just to be blessed, to have that opportunity today to bless it. And if that felt good to you, check in tomorrow. You may need to do that blessing every day this year, to connect with those children every single day. I'm not going to miss a day that I'm not going to pray for those kids, because I know they hold in their heart what I hold in mine. That presence, that being, that connection. Kids can stay in the now real easy. Matter of fact, they have a hard time letting go of the now, to have to do what they have to do, like make their beds or whatever, because they're too busy being in the now. And they're off in this wonderful creative space until someone tells them that that's not healthy. They need to be firm and focused, and they need to make sure their teeth are brushed. Not that brushing teeth aren't important. And so when you're walking through this world now, it's up to you. It's up to you whether you want to be present or not. It is your choice. No one's going to say no, except guess who? Oh, no. Why'd I say no to that? That would have been really a wonderful experience. Oh, it's time to lay off being so critical and to just say, hey, I'm exactly where I want to be, because this is where I am. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. I'd be somewhere else. And what is my assignment today? What is my assignment? Am I in the now or not? How many times have you gotten up in the morning, and by the time you get into, I usually take my supplements first thing in the morning. Many of you may do that. And sometimes I get there and I think, I haven't really embraced the day yet. I made it to be taking those. Oh, I forgot. I need to bless each one of those. I need to be grateful for each one of those. I need to thank each one to do what it's supposed to do, right? Oh, did I forget to do that today? Oh, that's where you start. Well, just think about that. Did you bless your food this morning? Did you savor the first taste of your tea or your coffee or whatever you drink in the morning? Or did you just throw it down and hope that you're gonna wake up at some point? We have just learned to forget and not be conscious of all the gifts of the day that are there from the beginning. And by the time you get done receiving all of that, your day will look, feel, and be different. Just that much. Why do we do the other? I think that it's a way to encourage people not to be powerful and so those of us who want to just sort of doze through life, you can do that. Too many people have been dozing for a while and we're kind of facing the consequences of the dozing, huh? A little bit. Yeah. Yeah. So what if you make your commitment this year? You know, we have candles that we're going to do a little meditation and then you're all going to light to set your intention to experience to the fullest 2024 and to be consciously reviewing and checking where you're at with that. See how much of this year you can say, yeah, wow, I had a lot of incredible experiences this year. Ah, I stayed present. And I got to savor all the wonderful love that's available for me. Oh my. And for each one of you, there's so much more love than we forget, you know? We forget how much love there is. Oh, and I know someone will bring up someone's name and I'll say, oh, I just love him or I just love her. How many times do you say that a year? And so maybe half of those will find a way to connect with that person and say, I just love you. Yeah, and see what happens. But let yourself be a little more like that little boy or little girl inside of you who loves butterflies and ants that stream across the walkway and that twinkly star at night that just attracts you more than any other. Doesn't matter if it has a name or not. It's just a sparkly wonder of light. Let's let go of analyzing and let's focus on community this year. What's my community? Where are my love bases? Who is it that I want to make sure knows I love them today, this hour, this minute? What if that's all that this year would be about? That would be primary focus. How would that make life different for you? And guess what? It's probably the only thing you're really in charge of and you really have power over is you. And so instead of trying to change the rest of the world, what if all you needed to do was stay in partnership, in commitment, like I talked about in my portrait? My partnership with me is to be a loving being who's willing to receive the love that's all around me. From the plants, from the trees, from the birds, the animals. I put on my rose quartz this morning. This has been with me for a long time. And I thought, well, how magnificent the mineral kingdom is. I've never picked up a piece of rose quartz that didn't hold love. Amazing how they know that's their job. They do very well. They don't say I'm an amethyst. No, they don't feel like an amethyst. No. Okay. It's time for you to know that your being is what is required here rather than your doing. And that your doing is simply in support of that being. And when the doing doesn't support that being, all you're doing is getting farther away from that one heart, that one love, that one life that we all hold so dear and know is the way to walk the path of thriving, the path of connection, the path of being all you are and receiving from others the beauty, the magnificence of who they are. And so I invite you this last day of the year that they allowed me to get here without having to shovel through snow. Thank you, that we are ready to take on the challenge of being so that no child ever has to be afraid that this is the last day of their life. And if it is the last day of their life, that they will know that their being is present and loved and that it makes a difference, just like you all do. So thank you for being those magnificent beings that you all are. Thank you for being present on the earth and setting the intention that we will find that one voice, that one heart, that one love that we know will carry us to the vibration and to that sense of peace and love that is so ready to be expressed, so ready to be the focus of who we are. And now we're going to do a little meditation. And did you all get a candle? Okay. All right. And what we're going to do